Hello, everyone. My name is Jim Benish. I'm the Global Exchange Coordinator for the College of Education and Human Sciences. Today, I'm talking with Erin Kelly. She's a student in the Textiles Merchandising Fashion Design Department. I'll let her introduce herself more completely, but we're here to talk about her study abroad experience to Germany in 2019.
Yep, thanks, Jim. Yes, my name's Erin Kelly. I am a student in the TMFD program. I study textile science and fashion design. And I got to go to Germany last summer with TMFD in the summer pre-session for about 2 weeks. And Jim was there as well.
Yeah, I was able to go along. I felt really lucky to be a part of that program. It was a new program then, wasn't it? So first time that it's ever been offered.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I love going on kinds of experiences where it's like, well, here we go. We'll see how this goes. And it went pretty great, I think.
Yeah, I think it went really well. And because it was a new program, I feel like the students got to express their input as to how they liked certain things and what they would have done differently, especially because it was new. Just our feedback felt really valuable.
I agree. Yeah. And when I was building the program with the professors, they were really eager to get your feedback. The plan is that this program will be offered every 3 years. And so let's see, 2021 will be the next time it runs. I have some questions for you about your experience. Why did you choose Germany?
So I knew in the few months leading up to the program that I needed to study abroad or have an internship as part of my degree. So I started looking into my options, and I saw that there was a Germany trip and a New York trip in the few years coming up. And I felt like the Germany trip was more exciting to me. I've been to New York before. I know that trip goes to Canada too, which is really exciting, but I just felt like I'd never been to that part of Europe before, Northern Europe, and the idea of fashion and culture in Northern Europe was really interesting to me. And the trip just sounded like there were a lot of opportunities to learn about different career paths that you can choose with a TMFD degree, and kind of just broaden what I know that I can do with my education.
That sounds good. Speaking of going to Germany, I feel like whenever we think about traveling somewhere, we have this idea in our head of what it is, and then we actually get there and it's kind of different. And so how did you find these two things kind of interacting with you? Did you think Germany was going to be this way and then it was actually this way? Or do you have a memory of a time when you were like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was like? Or perhaps this is exactly what I thought it was like?
Germany, well, I speak about Germany as if I went to the whole country, but we only went to Berlin.
Yeah.
Which was very different from what I expected. Because when I had spoken to people, they a lot of the times had visited more rural Germany or a different city that was much more like populated by German people. And so we went to Berlin, which is a very international city, and a lot of the people that we interacted with weren't actually like German by birth, or even like they moved to Berlin as adults.
Right.
And so
I remember Hedvika, she was from Czech Republic, is that right?
Yes. Yeah. And then a couple of the different companies we went to, one company, the two men running it were from Greece. Another company, one of the owners was from Iran. And so there were just a lot of people from all over the world. And I didn't expect that. I expected to be interacting with German people all the time. And that was it was like a nice surprise, because it felt like very welcoming to, like, I'm not the only person coming into Berlin who isn't German, hasn't been raised here, doesn't know exactly what they're doing. But all of these people are running businesses, living here, thriving here. So it was really exciting to see that.
Cool. What did you think of the academic aspects of the program, the educational parts? Was it harder than you thought it was going to be, or was it, pretty manageable? And how did they fit into your major?
So the main academic part of this was we were asked to write a lot about our experience before, during, and after the program ran. And so we wrote a little bit before, like doing some research, and then during the program we were asked to write journal entries every day, and then 5 blog posts that were just they were sort of like the journal entries, but following larger themes like fashion in Berlin, like street style, or shopping experiences like malls, shops, how they compare to other places that we've observed.
Mm-hmm.
And so those blog posts fit in really nicely because they asked us to consider how fashion and culture in Berlin that we were experiencing fit in with what we understood and what we were learning back home in Nebraska. And also they just helped us to kind of take note of what we were experiencing, which I really am glad for, because now I can look back at my journal entries, my blog posts, and remember what we did every day, and remember what I thought about the street style in 2019 in Berlin. I thought that was really helpful. And then afterward, we wrote about our experience, kind of a reflection of what we learned, which it was nice. It's nice to have that opportunity to reflect, because it's hard to make yourself do it. So when you have to do it for school, it's almost kind of nice.
Yeah. Nice to have that, right? It's like, I hear what you're saying. You might not do it on your own, but because you're doing it for a grade, you do it, and then you end up appreciating it. So, so do you think that the ratio of personal time to academic work to maybe, activities that you did on the program, how was that pretty balanced? I mean, how would you describe that to students who are interested in the program?
I felt like it was balanced. I would say our time was split up into probably 3 categories, and that was industry visits. So that was, like, I wouldn't say necessarily academic, but we would go with the program leaders. Everyone on the program went, and we would go visit some sort of business or just place that was relevant to our industry. And we would receive a lecture, sometimes just a Q&A, sometimes just talk. And then we would just kind of look and see the opportunities in the industry in Berlin. And so that was like the academic portion, sort of, but it didn't really feel academic. It was more of just like listening and learning and absorbing information. We didn't have to, fill out a worksheet or anything. And then there were cultural visits. So that was another time when either the whole program would go, or part of the group would go somewhere, part would go somewhere else. And we would go visit a site that's culturally relevant in Berlin. So it was like a nice mix between personal time and academic time, because it was something that introduced us to something that we could do, but it was like a nice little safe space where you knew who you were with, you knew how you were getting there, how you were paying for everything, and it was all planned out. And then the third category of time was personal time, when you could take everything you learned from your industry and cultural visits and say, okay, I want to take this train to this part of town that we visited earlier, and go to this cafe I saw that looks really cute, or something like that. And I felt like the time was really well balanced, because all of those categories are really important.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I got the opportunity to say, hey, I'm really interested in doing this. I'm going to break off from the group with a couple of other students, and we're going to pursue this experience we're interested in. And not everyone wanted to do the same thing, and that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some times when we all had to go together to do things, and that was also nice because it, forced us to get to know each other.
Yeah. Cool. What would you say there's something that you do now in your personal life or in your educational life, or both, or your life in general, that is a direct result of you traveling to Germany, whether it's a friendship or a skill you learned or an outlook you have?
Yeah, I think before I went, I was very afraid that I would do something wrong, that I would just do it wrong. I was like, I don't know how everything is done there. And I am just afraid that I'm going to just do something wrong that's culturally inappropriate, or I don't even know what I was worried about. And now I think actually going to Berlin and just kind of diving in made me realize that, no one really knows what they're doing all the time, and you can't worry about that too much. You can't worry all the time. It's gonna be fine. Like, just try. You're gonna be fine, even if you do get something wrong.
Yeah.
People will help you out, or it won't be a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't tell anybody, but I don't really know what I'm doing half the time.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Before we sign off, I just have one more question. Well, and I'll leave it to you to add anything you like, but do you have the international studies minor?
I do not.
Okay.
I already have 2 majors and 2 minors.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So I would be very interested if I did not have a very rigorously planned schedule for all the way till graduation.
Yeah, no worries.
But I think it's a great opportunity. I have considered it, but it's good. It gets a little full.
Traveling, and I'll just say this for any student that's listening, but traveling on a program like this renders you eligible for the minor. So it's just something that I completely recommend to every student that travels in CHS.
Yeah, that's when I looked at it, I noticed that's the biggest part of getting the minor is probably studying abroad. And then it's like just a couple other things, classes you probably already take. Mm-hmm. Studying abroad is the largest part of the minor, I think.
So what are your minors?
So I have a minor in art history and chemistry.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. Cool balance.
Yeah, it is. It keeps things interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to tell future students or people looking back on their time in Germany, or anything you want to add?
I would say just try everything. That was one thing that I say yes to things, try things. I think that's pretty common advice you get in the concept of studying abroad, but I just really felt like my experience was enhanced by saying yes to trying new foods. I discovered I really loved currywurst, and it made me so happy when my fellow students would say yes, okay, Erin, I'll try it for you since you love it so much.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, great. And I'll just note real quickly, I'm pretty sure you used Ready, Set, Go to help pay for this program, right?
I did. I used Ready, Set, Go.
That's awesome.
And yeah, that was very helpful.
So Ready, Set, Go is a scholarship program. It's a preparedness course that I teach every semester. It's about 5 weeks. Attendance is the only requirement. If you do come to the seminar, you'll get $1,000 to use towards a program like the Germany program. So if you have any questions, you can find my email all over my website, the one you're viewing this on. But just in case you don't have it, it's jbenesh@unl.edu. That's JBENES @unl.edu. Erin Kelly, thank you so much for your time. telling us about your experiences. It was really great to hear. Um, it was great to hear about your time in Germany.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah. See you later.